Jerry, how are you, man? Great to talk to you. I'm Don Silva, Good Times Magazine.
Hey, how are you, Don?
Good. How's everything with you, my
Really
friend?
well. Hey, thanks for calling back. I didn't know whether we had the right number or not, but I guess we do.
Yes, thank God I finally got through to you today.
Ready for you, champ.
Good, good. Now, today, of course, is 9/11, marking 2 years since the big catastrophe 2 years ago. Now, you're a Jersey guy. How does this day mean to you, and how does it affect you?
Well, we had a lot of people that we lost in there. Actually, a guy who played in a band called the Bullies wound up getting killed.
Johnny F. Right.
And, Marky lost a lot of friends. My buddy Timmy and Jimmy Destry and those people, they all went to funerals for months long after. It's kind of strange, but I was flying home the day before, I think actually on that Monday or that Sunday from a show I was doing in Chicago. And it's kind of weird because, I flew home on the plane not thinking anything of it, and then the next day saw something like that and realized, wow, who would have known or who would have even guessed? And,
right.
It's a very tragic thing because, you want to live in a free world and you want to be at peace and you want to be relaxed and enjoy your life. But as soon as you let down your guard, you're asking for trouble,
Exactly, man, exactly. And, I think that the country's did a good job handling this since then and everything else, and I just hope that we never have to see anything like this ever again.
Yeah, me too, to be honest with you.
Cool. So now the current lineup, man, of the Misfits is all-star classic. You got Marky Ramone in there, you got Dez from Black Flag. Truly an amazing combination of punk icons. You must be, so proud of yourselves when you guys take the stage, man.
Well, you know what, I am. Marky is amazing. He's probably the greatest drummer I've ever seen or played with, for that matter. And he is a total professional. If we figure Marky's been in the game a little longer than me, I'm going on, I guess, going to begin the 27th year for me. And
wow.
Marky's been going a few years longer than I have. So, he's doing like a 30-year term here, and he goes out there every night, regardless of where we're playing, whether it's a small place or a big place. He really takes the time and energy to get the best sound he possibly can and get his drums perfect. And he's a real stickler on that. And, that's a real professional. After 30 years, you could probably let a little bit of stuff fly past you. But he don't. And actually, I'm a little too noisy for him during sound check, so I actually wait outside till he's done. Otherwise, he gets real pissed at me. So he takes what he does very seriously, and I enjoy that a lot. Dez is great. Dez really gave me a hand putting together this 50s record and coming up with some really great guitar licks and figuring the songs out for me and stuff like that. And I'm real proud of what we did with this record.
Yeah, right on, man. The Misfits Project 1950, of course. Now, how did the 1950s idea come about? What made you decide that this is the direction you wanted to go in?
Well, you see, when I grew up, my mom was only 19 years old when she had me, and she used to collect 50s records when she was a girl in high school.
Right.
And when I was small, she'd be watching TV, and to keep me occupied, she'd stack up a whole bunch of the 45 RPMs on this big cylinder that would sit in the middle of the turntable that you had to put on as an attachment.
Right.
And it would just hand off one at a time. So I grew up listening to Fats Domino and Buddy Holly and Little Richard and the Coasters and bands like this. And it was just like in my blood. And when I turned around 4 or 5, and my brother Kenny had come along, and then Doyle when I was 5, we used to sit on the bed and bang on pots and pans along with the Four Seasons. So it was something that was a long coming. And then when we started our band in '77, I wasn't into learning all the songs that Yes did. Or Pink Floyd or the Stones. I really didn't want that because, I enjoyed listening to it. But for me, it really wasn't where I wanted to go or where I needed to go as an artist. So I began playing simplistic stuff, which is punk today. And it's the same chord progressions from the 1950s that they wrote. The chords that they used to write Donna are the same chords for the Blitzkrieg Bop. And it's vocal melodies that are now taking the precedence, which happened in the beginning of rock and roll. You really didn't have virtuoso guitar players. You didn't have extreme drummers. The drummer would just keep a beat, and there were all these classic songs that were written. Now in the 70s, the Ramones came back and did the same thing. It was a four beat, you know.
Right.
It was simple, and the chords, you know, there were no leads. Everything was simple. We weren't trying to show off how well we could play. We were trying to write really great melodies on top of really simple music so that anybody could understand. So the Ramones was like the rebirth of rock and roll in the 70s. And now that it's 50 years now, I mean, another 25 years has passed, I thought that given the opportunity that I had this lineup, obviously Marky was into it and Dez was into it as well. With this lineup, it was my opportunity to finally drop this record, and I wanted to drop it for a couple of reasons. One was obviously to pay homage to the guys who created rock and roll. Right. Secondly was to really show the kids how punk music was just a rebirth of 1950s music.
Right.
And third, to really give them some mathematical background on how simple songs are the ones that are the hooks are the ones that make it to number one. And in this album, I covered two basic chord progressions. One of them being the 1-4-5, which is the Blitzkrieg Bop and Donna, and the other one being a 1-6-4-5, which is the Monster Mash. And the Monster Mash is a perfect example because the verse and the chorus are the same chords.
Right.
And it plays the same thing. If I sat there and play, I know Tenacious D does something like that, I think, where they just keep playing the same song and just keep changing the melody.
Right.
And over, like for 15 different number one songs, it's all the same chords. And these are the chords that everybody's very familiar with, and this is your melodic music that really is the essence of music today, of what you're used to hearing. And I wanted the kids to understand that you don't need a fancy guitar and an amplifier and a chord and a tuner and all the trimmings. All you need is a $100 used acoustic guitar that's in tune and somebody to show you three chords. And if you got something inside that needs to get out, you can get it out. And you'll know right away. You sit down and learn three chords. And if you can't write a song with ADE, then you ain't going anywhere. and that's... You know, that's because, you know, I grew up, I've seen bands come and go, and people who really put a lot of time and effort. And most of the kids that join bands are usually kids who are in high school and going into college. And this is the most inopportune time to go chasing a dream that you may never achieve. You know, these are the times that you really need to lay your foundation as far as schooling and getting somewhere in the world.
Right.
Now, if you look at Queen, I remember, I'm not sure if this is accurate, but I was told that the guys in Queen all went to college and all went to medical school and law school before they even started the band. They all started the band when they were in their late 20s and early 30s.
Right.
You know, because they figured, you know, we're not going to be stupid about this.
Right.
We're going to go out and become something in the world, and then go after the music full blast.
Right.
And they wrote all their songs during the time when they were in school. And what happened was, you know, this one's a doctor, the other one's a lawyer. Now, you see, what I told my son has, as a matter of fact, who I was hanging out with today, he's 18. And he's got a band, and he had a band for the last 3 or 4 years. He opened for us at Roseland in New York, and he played with us at House of Blues in Chicago. And he had like kind of a thrash kind of a Slipknot kind of a thing going. And so what happened was that he wanted to go to, he just started college about a week ago, and I told him he wanted to be a sound engineer. And I was like, listen, I says, you go to school and you learn something that you can use for anything. And I said, and in the meantime, I'll buy you the studio gear, which I did. And I says, you can go in the summer to sound engineering school if you want, or anything like that. Because I always felt that, you know, in this business, you need accountants to make sure that you got enough money to operate and do the things you want to do. You need lawyers to keep, you know, to cover your rear end from all different kinds of sharks that are out there trying to steal your ideas or steal your songs, or people who turn around and you know, wind up giving you a hard time. I mean, you need lawyers. It's got to be structured like a business, and I think that was really the undoing of us at a very, very early age when it was me, Glenn, and Doyle.
Right.
We never did any of the legal background, and we didn't have a lawyer to look over contracts for us, and we could have been probably sitting very, very pretty right now if we would have known what we were doing.
Right, right.
You know, we found out everything the hard way by getting burned. And, you know, I'm working on a book, and, you know, and I hope the music lesson helps the kids. And it's more important to know whether you got talent before you get involved. But if you do get involved, then the book will help you, because the book I'm working on, it's a survival guide. It's supposed to tell the kids what a good contract is, what a bad contract is, what publishing is, what it's worth to you, how, you know, someday it would be nice to be able to start a band and 20 years later be able to, like, say, okay, well, that was fun.
Right,
And retire off it. But, you know, I'm still in work today, you know. And I got a good band. I mean, I got a band that's well-known. I mean, a very popular band. And, you know, we made every mistake you could possibly make. And if it wasn't for me having a family business to fall back on, the Misfits would have been out of business 20 times over.
Right.
You know, but there's kids out there who don't have that. They're taking their whole life and throwing it into the dream, which I do have the ultimate respect for, but I don't always think that's the most logical solution.
So what you're trying to do with the book, and even with, you know, through the lessons that you've learned, is to let people kind of learn from your mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if I you know, break my leg in a pothole, I'll let you know it's there. You know.
Right. Exactly. That's well said. Well said.
Hold on 1 second, Don. I got to call him and just see who it is.
All right. Cool.
Somebody looking out for you, trying to make sure we had the right number and reschedule.
Okay.
So you're covered.
Cool.
So yeah, so that was my point. My point is, you know, if I can save kids from making the same mistakes that I made, that's fine. And you know, my biggest regret, and I always said this, was that I didn't go to college. In high school, I used to pay attention in class, and I got A's and B's, and I really never brought home books to study. Every once in a blue moon, I'd have to bring home a book when something was a little bit involved. But I mean, for the most part, I felt that just being attentive and participating in class, I would be able to recall what we talked about and be able to kind of like bluff my way through. And you know, I was kind of lazy about it. I probably could have did much better in high school. I probably could have got straight A's.
Right.
But when it came time to go to college, I had just started the band with Glenn, and I was going to play football up in Rhode Island. And they really, you know, they weren't going to give me any kind of scholarship, and they just wanted me to like be a walk-on. And you know, I felt that I really enjoyed the music, and I guess today, if I hadn't become John Elway by now, then, you know, I guess I did the right thing.
Right.
You know, I made an impact. I think, you know, anybody in their life, the most important thing they can do is inspire people in a positive manner, regardless of what it is, whether it's by financial success or whether it's by artistic abilities or whether it's by athletic abilities or whatever it is. In other words, people that become your heroes that you look up to, and that give you that little extra oomph when you need it. I mean, that's what we've done for a lot of people. So I don't regret being in the Misfits. I regret making the mistakes I made, but then again, who don't?
Right. Exactly. And of course, I mean, you know, millions of fans are glad that you made the choice you did in going on with the Misfits, because you definitely are an icon and what you represented, and you took music to a different place.
Well, we did. I think we changed the course of music. I think that you know, it wasn't totally by our hand. I mean, the Metallicas and the Guns N' Roses and those guys kind of walked it down our path, but I mean, we definitely cut a hole through the brush so that they could see the clearing, you know.
Right on, man. Definitely.
And you know, I'm real proud of that. And the one thing that I really enjoy is that our music really has held its ground. And I've always said this. I always believe that 100 years from now, the Ramones are going to be the biggest oldies act of all time.
Right.
You know, you're going to hear them on all the oldies stations, and you're not going to be hearing, because they got so many great songs.
Yeah, man.
I think that was the main difference between the 1950s rock and roll groups and the groups of today, is that, you know, there's such an abundance of material from the newer groups, and back in the day, everybody had one or two hits, and that was all they had.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
you know, I think the Ramones were 22 albums, and songs like Pet Sematary and Rockaway Beach. And
Right.
You're going to hear that forever. So, you know, I'm real glad that I've been a part of it and pioneered a lot of this stuff. And I'm real proud of the way we went out and built our own equipment and designed our own look and like our marketing. I really enjoyed doing the marketing. So, that was one thing I also specified to my son. I was like, look, marketing, advertising, all these things. I mean, they're all part of the big music picture,
Yeah,
and the more that you understand about it, and the more that you're able to contribute to it, the more original you are.
Right on.
And the less you rely on everybody else to tell you who you are or what you're supposed to be. I mean, that's what drives most of these people crazy, is that, they got too many people telling them which way to turn.
Right, exactly,
Case, we know where we're going,
Right, exactly.
We just need people to open the right doors.
Right. And like you said, you did it all DIY style, man. You did it all yourself, and you really built an empire.
Well, thanks. Yeah, no, I really believe that. I'm still doing that today. We just did this Fiend Fest, and the Fiend Fest was a result of having to form our own record label.
Right.
So we had to make our own record label, and then we needed a format to be able to drop our bands and showcase our bands.
Right.
So we went out this time. Obviously, we only have 2 bands on our label, us and a band from Japan called Balzac.
Right.
And they're I don't want to say they're carbon cutouts because they totally write their own stuff and they got their own style. But they copped a lot of our looks, but they made it their own in such a way that it's really not gimmick infringement, as we call it in pro wrestling.
Right.
So what happens is that we had two bands out of the 6 bands on our festival or on our label, and hopefully one day the whole festival will be bands that are on our label. Now,
cool.
What that enables us to do is take all our acts out to a specified fan base, and then say if everybody's got a new record for that year, put them all together in a really great package, save the kids money, and promote the whole thing.
Cool.
And that was really the point of the Fiend Fest, and the Fiend Fest went very, very well. I mean, it was our first time out with so many bands and so much so involved. I mean, we played on the Warped Tour, but the Warped Tour is like a pitching machine that just spits the balls out one after the other.
Yeah, right on, exactly.
You know what I mean? You got a half hour to get set up and a half hour to play, and you're gone.
Yeah, right.
But we were a little more involved than that. We tried to give everybody some space and some time to get ready and that kind of stuff. But I mean, that's the level that we have to operate, and I don't mind it. And I think it's kind of exciting in a lot of ways, and it's good because I think that a lot of the bands who run into us and see the way that we operate are going to go out and speak highly of us and tell people, well, hey, not for nothing, but these guys are probably the hardest working guys in the business.
Right on, man.
And that's why they're who they are.
Exactly. Exactly, man. And now, I mean, the proof is in the pudding, and this album, the Project 50s, it debuted on Billboard's indie charts at number 5 and Heat Seekers at number 2. That's freaking incredible, man.
Yeah, you want to know what? I can't even take a bow for it because those are all number 1 songs by great people.
Right. Right.
I really can't. But, I do take a bow for our fan base coming to bat for it because, that was always the question of doing this record was, will the kids get it?
Right.
And I'll tell you, we put a DVD in there, and that was one of the other points that I'll make in a minute. But the thing was that we went to debut this at a snowboard festival, at a snowboard championship competition in Vermont, in the middle of the friggin' winter, right? I don't wear a shirt when I play or anything like that.
Right.
I'm like steaming and sweating and smoke's coming off my body. And we're playing Donna and This Magic Moment to a bunch of snowboarding kids who had just done competitions listening to like Slayer and or some of our early stuff, and I didn't know how these kids were going to take it, and then they all start moshing and throwing snowballs and having a great time.
Awesome.
And I seen the kids' mouths. I can see the little kids who are young, they're 12, 13 years old, mouthing the words, so they've heard the song.
Right.
So the thing is that it came across, and that's when I realized that we were onto something here, that I wasn't wasting my time doing this, and it wasn't just my ambition that I was chasing after. It was actually something that these kids could relate to and hopefully gain something from it. I found about maybe 6 or 7 kids so far on the road who actually bought the record, who came up to me and goes, wow, I really liked the whole musical thing you did in the back. It really helped me to understand a lot. and make things not so complicated for me. And I understand that I if I can do it, I have the tools now, which I thought was a really, to me that was probably the best compliment. Not, oh, you sound good, or you did this song good. I mean, that we're supposed to do that.
Right.
Right. I mean, I don't want pats on the back for that. So, but the thing is, like now with the way music is with kids download and stuff, you have to make your packaging so appealing that it's worth the price of the CD that you don't even want to bother downloading.
Right, true.
Now, when somebody shows it to you, it's not, hey, can you burn me one?
Right.
It's like, I gotta go get one.
Right, exactly.
And that's where I think our record company's gonna do really well, because we've always been more successful visually than we have sonically, if you know what I'm saying.
Right, yeah.
I mean, we don't have platinum records.
Right.
But we sell more shirts than people who do.
Right. Right on, man.
And we have sneakers, and we got action figures, and we got this, and we got that. So the thing is, once we start designing packaging specifically for that reason, I think we're going to do really, really well.
Awesome, man. And also, Halloween is coming up. Halloween, I know, like in years prior, you guys always do kick-ass things. Do you have any plans for this year yet?
Well, this year we're thinking either New York or D.C. right now. There's talks of L.A. The thing was, the Fiend Fest was pretty in-depth. I mean, it started in the middle of July and ran right through till the end of August. And to really drive home the point, we went to a lot of the main markets, which kind of puts you in a disadvantage, because now that we're going to do a fall run, we pretty much, took all the meat off the bone.
Right.
So now we got to find, pieces that we didn't hit and piece the puzzle together. And we obviously don't have the same lineup. We were going to do a Fiend Fest too and try and invite the Cramps and maybe a few other different acts, maybe Sick of It All and people like that.
Cool.
Just switch it up a little bit, but we also don't want the Fiend Fest to be something that people take lightly. We wanted them, when they see it coming, know that they got to jump on it and really, show up when it's there, and we didn't want to overplay it. So it puts us in a position right now that we're feeling our way around. But I know that I am talking to Hilly Crystal, who the owner of CBGB's. They're doing the 30th anniversary show, which I think we're going to do for them around Christmas time. And I'm going to try and get Ronnie Spector to come down and do some Christmas. I'm actually going to try and break it up into individual sets the way we used to play in the old days. In the old days, you would show up and do 2 sets a night. You do like an 8 o'clock set and then a 10 o'clock set.
Right.
So what I'm thinking is that maybe since we got Marky with us and CBGB's is definitely Ramonesville, I'm thinking maybe we'll do a 30 or 40 minute Ramone block, take a break, come out, do some of the 1950s project, maybe cover to cover.
Cool.
Turn around, come back out, bring Ronnie out, do some Christmas tunes, and then come out and end up with a big crunching, thrashing Misfits set. So, I don't know if that's going to transpire. I mean, don't hold me to that, but that's the thought I ran past Hilly. And obviously 30 years for CBGB's is something really to be proud of as well.
Definitely, man. It's awesome. Now, you guys also getting ready to head to Mexico for a big stint over there.
Yeah, well, we got South American kids go nuts for this stuff.
Cool.
And, it's funny, probably the biggest shows we do is in Chile. We played about 6,000 kids in Chile every time we show, and
wow.
they actually, break that through the glass windows, the kids who don't have money, and it's crazy.
Wow, it's cool.
Yeah, it's a really crazy part of the world. And obviously the Ramones have had huge success in South America. They played to 80,000 people at a time. And they're every time we go to the airport, there's always an entourage waiting for Mark, and
wow.
And it's good. And what happened was we had booked a tour of South America a few months back, and Chile, which is our biggest score there, the promoter had a heart attack and was in a hospital. So we canned the whole tour. We said, listen, we'll postpone it just so that we don't come down and not be able to do Chile. And now that Chile's back in the mix, we're going, I think we got 8 different countries and about 10 shows. So we do about 3 in Brazil. But Brazil is the size of any other continent.
Right.
So it's good. I mean, I really enjoy doing it. They treat us well, and the kids really appreciate the music. And down there we can lean heavily into the Ramones stuff, and the kids appreciate it. Up here they kind of get on me a little bit because it's supposed to be a Misfit show. But what the kids got to realize is that with the loss of Joey and then recently the loss of Dee Dee,
right.
Now's really the opportunity for you to hear some of these songs with Marky doing them, and I think that Des and I do them well, and I think we do them for the right reasons. We're not trying to jump on anybody's bandwagon.
Right.
This isn't, the zombie compilation there. This is more the guys who really love those guys and hung out with those guys will just want to say, hey, thank you so much.
Cool.
And actually having the last of the Ramones with us is a real honor for me, and I just want to definitely show him that respect.
Cool, man. Very cool. So now you guys, like I said, you're getting ready to do the tour. You got the album is kicking butt, the 50s project. What's the ultimate goals at this point? I mean, you have so much success. I mean, in Japan, you guys are huge. The toys are selling out like crazy.
I know, isn't this crazy? Well, I'm still at work. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to get the parts out the door that I got to ship, and so get on a plane on Monday morning.
Right.
I mean, my life hasn't changed. My life has gotten more hectic, and it's supposed to be getting easier. That's why I say I go to the gym, and the weights ain't getting any lighter. I said, look, I'm here every day working. Why ain't these things getting lighter? They seem like they're getting heavier. But now the bottom line is that we got to start penning a new Misfit album. I've been talking to Doyle. Doyle's got some riffs he's going to drop for me, and we're going to start working on that.
Oh, cool.
And obviously, now that the 50s record is out and we got a new label, we're going to run, as hard and as strong as we can without stepping on our own toes to promote and bring about a stronghold in the music industry where we can now start to begin to branch out and sign other bands. We want to do horror movies on DVD, and
cool.
we want it to be a real label that has a lot of clout and a lot of really cool things.
Cool.
And I think that's really going to be the key. And I think also having that, once that stability takes form, it's really time to sit down and write an album that's really going to set everybody back on their heels. I wanted to use the 50s album as a flagship in case I have to do the lead vocals for the next Misfit record. I'm trying to avoid it. I'm trying to come to a point where we can maybe do something and get something back together. And, but I can do it, and I'm not even doubting that. I mean, I just really, I would like to see things be like they're supposed to be, too,
What's the odds of getting, Glenn to come back for this?
Well, nothing's happening right now because Glenn's working on his Blackest of the Black festival, which I don't think actually wound up solidifying. But with the success of the Fiend Fest and the success of this record and obviously the launch of the label, I'm kind of hoping that he'll look at things in a different light. And, when you watch people like Dee Dee and Joey fall and then Joe Strummer,
right.
I mean, I went to Joe Strummer's show, and when we were working on the 50s record, as a matter of fact, I went in and sang Only Make Believe the same night I saw Joe. And I went to go see Joe in Brooklyn. He was doing, I think, 3 or 4 shows at this, kind of an intimate place, only held 1,000 or 2.
Right.
And he was doing a bunch of reggae stuff, so I had to be in the studio. And, after about an hour worth of the reggae stuff, I said, I'm out of here. And the guy standing in front of me was Mick Jones,
right.
The other guitar player.
Cool.
So I tapped Mick on the shoulder. I said, hey, Mick, man. I said, how you doing? And he turned around and he goes, hey, what's up, And I said, the last time I saw you play was with Sid Vicious at Max's Kansas City. So he started laughing because, you're talking 1979.
Yeah, right.
That was the last time I saw him. And I told him, I said, listen, not for nothing, but, we've been out here playing really, really hard. And, if your Clash ever gets back together, I says, we want to open that show.
Right.
I said, I don't want to hear you got, No Doubt.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want you guys to, suck up to the modern day, modern day marketing scams.
Right.
I don't want to see, Limp Bizkit and Metallica and, all these other guys jumping on your bandwagon. I says, we earned it, and he was like, well, I don't know if that's ever going to happen. And lo and behold, like a little bit later, we lost Joe Strummer.
Right.
And I realized that there's never going to be a Clash show.
Exactly.
So, that's why I'm really hoping that Glenn, comes to a point in the road where he realizes that we have a golden opportunity here. And for me, for example, my game has gone totally through the roof because during the 25th anniversary tour, I had to sing and play 50 songs a night.
Right.
And that was like an inhuman feat, and I didn't realize it until I got halfway through the tour that this is total insanity. Once my body just started disintegrating, I realized that I might have bit off more than I can chew here. 2 drummers and 10 guitar players and just one jerk standing up playing bass and singing all this stuff. My fingers are killing me, my throat's killing me,
right.
my legs are killing me. I mean, everything started hurting. And I realized that it would be really nice for us to go out there and stage what I would consider probably to date the biggest comeback of all time.
Yeah.
And write a new album that would make the Panteras and the Slayers turn around and say, woof. That's what we meant.
Right, exactly, man. That'd be cool.
And we can do that. And, that's why I'm hanging in there for that. And if not, I'm really happy that I made it to get this 50s record out, and I hope that it does well. And I'm really looking forward to launching that book and hopefully helping some kids with that. But either way, I got to start working on a new Misfit album. And I always said that if I got to go out there and play by myself, I'll have to go out there and do it. So
that's it, man. That's the kind of attitude that you had that always got, that took you where you are today, man.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, definitely. And Jerry, man, I really appreciate talking to you, dude. I mean, you're freaking an awesome guy. I love the Misfits, and it's good to see that you guys are freaking still kicking ass.
Well, hey, thank you so much, Don.
Definitely.
Okay.
Take care, man.
Okay, brother.
Bye.
Bye.